Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, my good friends? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Thank you so much for joining the show today. It's going to be a fun show, and of course, we're doing it our style. I don't have a really great idea of what we're talking about, but Melanie does. We're going to add value. We're going to bring it home, and we're going to plant the seed of starting conversations with you and your spouse from here so you guys can go talk about this, improve your life, improve your marriage, improve your family.
Yeah,
you got the jazz today, so
it's
all right,
nice
lady.
to hear the long version of
I know,
the song.
it's pretty sick. I'm jamming. It's like gets you in the mood. So, all right.
Actually, I want to talk about this song. It's actually super fun. We wrote it in, we'll turn it down. We wrote it in partnership with Matt Carter of Emory and Chris Keene of, I always say it wrong, Surrogate. I always say Surrogate.
Who wrote more of it?
I don't know, but I have a crush on Chris Keene, so don't tell him.
I was in the band Emory, so basically I wrote the song.
I'm famous.
I am famous.
Because I know them. Anyway,
you're famous because of me, because you were on some albums.
Which is fun because that song means a lot to us because it was written by our friends. And it's kind of cool. Sorry, my microphone's loose. Anyway, so today's topic, we're talking about finding your inner goddess. And actually, I had a funny thought.
For you, not for me. I don't need an inner goddess. Right. Thank you very much.
You need my inner goddess.
I like to get in your goddess. Whoa! Oh, it's turned down.
That was really good. Say it. Should we do it again? So then
it's not as funny.
But anyway, we want to talk about that. And I had at the beginning of the episode, you were like, "We're going to do it our style." I don't know anything about what we're talking about, which cracked me up. And I'm like, way to make us sound professional. But what I like about that is that this is authentic, meaning this is us having a real conversation that we've never had before. We didn't sit down and like make our bullet points and be like, this is what we're going to say. And so if we don't understand one another, you get to watch the process of us working through that.
You get to watch the process. But remember, I literally am a family system trained licensed therapist, went to school for 1 billion years and done this forever. So I am actually a professional.
Be old as Moses.
Yes, Moses was my teacher. But yes, we do add value. And I like adding value by just having real ass conversations about real stuff that we're talking about, working it out in real time. And then, sometimes we put bullet points and stuff in there. But I was on a client call this morning, and he was saying, like, some of the stuff that we talked about spurred these conversations and then led to other realizations, not even closely in the same universe of what we were talking about.
You mean? Oh, cool.
And like having building conversations that both grow one another and realize different stuff about yourself and different stuff about your spouse, which is amazing. So whenever you say goddess, I just think of the Annie's goddess salad dressing.
Ow, that hurt my back.
You know what I'm talking about?
I got
it's
like
delicious.
a lung tweeze.
Yeah.
Goddess salad dressing is really good. We put it on our ranch chicken or whatever it is. Rosemary chicken. I'll have to share that recipe. That is a really good recipe. Anyway, so finding your inner goddess. Why the H am I talking about this, and what the H does it matter to you? So this is kind of funny. I would love your thoughts on this, your take on it as well. So I work with female clients. What do you keep staring at? You're distracting me.
Making sure that it's recording.
To the completeness. It is recording.
Okay.
I hear my female clients when I work with them, and I talk about finding your inner confidence, and I'll use language like, especially, oh my gosh, scam likely from Kirkland, Washington, huh?
We should answer it and put it through the roads.
Hello. Thank you for calling Anatomy of Us. Caller, what's your question?
Right.
Anyway, my clients, I'll use language like, finding your inner goddess and whatever. And it's like a complete blank. Like these women are like, what does that mean? I like what you're saying, but I just have no idea what you could possibly mean by that statement. And I would love to know more about it. And so I'm actually kind of answering questions of my clients in this episode, but also I think this is going to be really helpful for you. So when I talk about inner goddess vibes, what is the first thing that comes to mind? What would old Seth think about his wife finding her inner goddess?
Weird witchcraft bullshit.
Just don't hold back on your thoughts. Please tell me more.
Okay, that's like super hippy dippy, and I'm not talking about the like Jimi Hendrix Woodstock hippie stuff. I'm like, okay, that's just too far out there.
Like a witch in the holler casting a spell.
Which in the South, I grew up, and that's
real.
That stuff was scary. I'll tell you that, because I have been in many hollers.
What's the definition of a holler? Actually, my sister and I looked it up yesterday.
Oh, you did? Well, I don't need no definition. I'll tell you what it is to me.
A creepy place with a witch?
Yeah, just a creepy place out in the woods. Most likely it has to be at night. So I grew up in an area called the Dark Corner. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
The
That's
Dark
creepy.
Corner, because there's a lot of moonshine and just a lot of stuff going on.
Satanic.
Well, that was the lore of the day, which scared the crap out of you when you're a 12-year-old. And you're like, what? Devil worshipers and stuff. So yeah, that's what I would think. Like, what? Okay, goddess, what are you talking about? You are completely just out there, and I don't even like it. I don't want a part of it.
All right, and that's what I'm going to say. So the implied emotion related to the term goddess and any of those ideas is negative.
Right.
It's, gross. Don't.
Weird.
Please don't.
Weird.
Right. Do you feel like if I said back then, I'm going to discover my inner goddess, that on the other end of that discovery, it would be positive? What would you think would the outcome be of that?
Not really. I'd be like, well, first of all, I'd be like, what are you talking about? That sounds stupid. And I'd be super judgy about it. And then if I got 1 point past that, I would have said, what do you mean? What is this?
What are you doing here?
Right. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, maybe I have some questions. What do you mean?
But no, answer my question. On the other side of me having discovered my inner goddess ranch dressing,
yes.
What would you think the outcome would have been in old Seth mindset?
Then we don't have anything in common. We're drifting apart.
Right.
And I don't like you anymore.
And it's scary, huh?
Well, yeah, it was scary.
Right. I could think of clients that we have, or even just friends of mine that I know that what?
When I think of a goddess, I think of like flowy, like big flowy dresses that are of course purple, and it's a crazy cat lady who doesn't have a husband and can't manage her money well and is just like a mess. You know what I'm saying?
But she's a goddess.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well,
I'm just kidding.
You think you're a goddess, sister, I guess. Man, I'm being really judgy here. I need to read Judgment Detox by Gabby Bernstein again.
It's fine, actually.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what I would have thought.
Right.
And trust me, I know 8 bagillion women and dudes like that. I'm like, you're a joke. Like,
well,
I'm not even judging you.
Now you've passed the line.
Okay.
They're not jokes. They're God's creation. But I'm glad that you were so honest, because that is what I think a lot of husbands think when their wife says, I just need to go on a journey of personal growth and find my inner goddess, or I'm going on
that commercial, you go girl. And then the girls go out dancing and they go home crying.
I don't know.
They think they're going to have fun and then they go home crying.
Right. So why I'm bringing all of that up and why Seth is being so judgmental.
You know what I'm saying, dudes?
Purpose.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, is that this is very scary for most couples. It feels like a dividing moment. And again, that's what I was saying with clients that I've worked with, people that I've been friends with who we talk about this with. It is a moment in a marriage where a husband is like, F, what is going to happen? Like, my wife is not going to be who I married. She's going to come out on the other end of this retreat or this workshop or this podcast that she listened to about becoming a goddess, and she's going to hate me. She's going to hate all men. She's going to divorce me, become a lesbian, start an organic farm, raise puppies, have an Astro van. But really, I think it is very scary for most people. And that's why when I bring it up, women are attracted to the concept, but have no idea how to approach it. And I think subconsciously, we all know that our husbands will absolutely hate the idea, unless our husbands do like fake jousting and love medieval times.
So women finding...
That was a funny joke.
Yes. Sorry. Women finding their inner goddess probably happens at a certain age.
Mm-hmm. It's like
just like a male midlife crisis. Like, I'm getting a Corvette and a motorcycle and going to find a 24-year-old kind of thing, right? I mean, maybe not the cheating part, but
Jordan Peterson has the best take on men finding younger girlfriends. It is so awesome. Anyway, but yes, I would say it's not a midlife crisis vibe. Right. I think it comes in line with, and again, I'm going to speak in broad brush strokes here. If you dislike what I say, go listen to something else.
Sick.
That's right. So women, especially if you are, well, it's not all mothers, but for moms particularly, you stop being yourself when you're a mom a lot of times. You're just like a caregiver, right? It's like our dog Zynga. She can't run around when she has puppies. She hates being a mom. She's got 5 little puppies hanging on them teats. She does not love it. And she stops being Zynga. She stops being a fun-loving dog just running around and being goofy. She has to be a mom for however long, for 8 weeks.
It's like that scene in Lord of the Rings. I remain Galadriel.
Of the North or whatever she says.
Right.
But I don't know how that's like that scene, but I love you. So most women feel that. They're a mom. All of a sudden, they're just nursing a baby all the time or making food or cleaning up or blah, 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 or trying to change their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, they turn around and go, where have I gone?
What am I doing?
What am I doing? I'm not doing anything that I love. I'm not pursuing any of I stopped working because I had kids and now I don't do anything and I'm behind in the workplace. So there's this I wouldn't say it's a midlife crisis. I think the word midlife crisis is dumb. And I think, like I said, it's like a midlife glow up. Like we can grow up and glow up. We don't need to have a crisis.
Midlife awakening. Like a dude can have a midlife crisis and come out on the other side like what have I been doing? All this is bullshit. Who am I working for? Why am I working?
Why would we
I'm
call
not
it a
happy.
Crisis? I don't want to call it a crisis. It's
because it's a break away from the norm.
It's a crisis if you do stupid stuff.
It's a crisis to people who aren't doing what they want to do. They're like, oh, he's tripping out or she's tripping out, kind of thing. So there are some similarities.
I don't prefer that term.
Tripping out?
Yeah, say the better one.
You be tripping.
No, tripping balls.
Oh, tripping balls.
I always think it's funny when you say tripping balls.
Right.
But anyway, it is a part, I believe, for women to find sort of or to want to find their inner goddess, or it can even start with feeling lost. So I'm going to talk about what it is, how it works, what people feel before they take this journey, and why it's not scary and how it's really beneficial in your life. So again, women find themselves yearning for something. And it's typically like, I'm not fulfilling my destiny. Like I'm not living up to my fullest potential. I'm not, you walked through that with me. Tell me how you perceived how I felt.
When?
Just like when I felt like I wasn't, I was like grasping for meaning. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think
it wasn't one conversation. It was like 800.
Right. And there are seasons of this. Sometimes like, oh, I've been doing this thing, which I thought that I wanted to do. And it was what you wanted to do, but you do that for 5 or 6 years or something. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. I've gotten so used to this and I'm figuring out that maybe a year ago I stopped liking it, but I just continued to do it.
Right. So can you answer my question?
Yeah. You've had, I will walk off this set.
And then you'll just be in our driveway. That'll be weird.
Yeah.
I'm not recording with you.
I'll go to Starbucks. So those times that you've had it, let's see, I think that you have
how did
increased
it feel?
in maturity around it because, and this will be helpful to listen. Just listen. This will be helpful to listeners because before when you had those things, you would blame me for it. I'm so unhappy. It must be your fault, blah, blah, blah. And be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm doing literally everything you put on the list to do.
And I'm still unhappy.
Right. And because I didn't know how to navigate that, we just argue about it. And then that would make me unhappy and like, okay, she's losing it. Right. But as you have grown in maturity, right, you go, oh, okay, I don't like something, or I had this realization and now I think differently about this. You're not blaming other things, other people, or other circumstances. You're going out and finding it within yourself.
Right. So yes. So what I'm asking is, how did it present itself? Like literally, what behaviors did you see in me that husbands can see in their wives and go, oh, maybe she needs to find her inner goddess?
I don't understand the question completely.
Okay. So I'll just say what you think about what I'm going to say.
Right.
Which is the premise of our entire show. Say what you think about what I'm going to say.
That's a good idea. It's called conversation.
So in those times, like you said, you would do everything on the list. So I would be like determined to fix my problem and feel better and find my true fulfillment and my happiness. And I would try all these things, most of which I would rope Seth into, meaning I was not actually in charge of my own thoughts, whatever. Like in air quotes, I had to have Seth help me.
You weren't empowered.
I weren't empowered. I wasn't empowered. And I would get mad at him when the outcome wasn't what I wanted.
You're wrong for that.
So say what that felt like you are trying to show up, you're trying to help me in all the ways, but I still am not happy. I'm like frantically whatever. Like, does that make sense?
Can I get passionate about it?
You may, but yeah, you may.
It felt the worst. It felt so shitty because most guys, and I say this to our clients, and I've said this before, most people try to do the best they can with what they got, right? And most husbands who are like halfway self-aware, like, okay, I want to make my wife happy. I want to make her happy. Happy wife, happy life, right? And if you just look at that at the surface level, very superficially, that is dumb, and you'll only have a superficial relationship after that. But if I can do things that make you happy, make you fulfilled, perfect example, and you posted about it yesterday, you went and spent a lot of money on our bed stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you texted me something like, hey, I'm going to spend money today. And I was like, hey, no problem. And I made sure to like attune to what you were saying. And I'm not saying I empowered you to buy stuff, but I made sure that we were on the same page. That was like, absolutely, lady. Just give me a ballpark of what it is. And I can, for funds of this and funds for that to go into that thing. Yes, have the best time ever. Knock yourself out, right? So I want to do things to make you happy, right? But it felt really terrible because I was like, listen, woman,
Right.
I'm beating my brains out here. And you continue. It's like, okay, at some point, that's going to shut a guy down. And it did for me, and it has some clients too. It's like, okay, listen, you got to get your shit together. And a lot of guys don't feel like they can even say that because guess what?
Oh, yeah.
That'll destroy their wives.
For sure.
But you got to get your ass kicked sometimes.
And so what's good in that analogy, using the bed stuff in particular, which I want to comment on that because we had that sort of text exchange.
You want me to read them?
We can't. We don't need to. But we had a text exchange, and just for clarity's sake, I don't go and spend hundreds of dollars without saying to my person I do life with that I'm spending $100 of our mutual. That's pictures of me in a bathing suit, Seth. It actually is. I bought a bathing suit yesterday. A really cute one from Target. It's like tan and yellow.
Okay, keep on going.
But I was thinking about my bathing suit. So I texted him. We talked back and forth. That's incredibly distracting to me. Are you going to read it or not?
So I texted you and said, hey, Lovey, thank you so much for taking care of our home and actually making it an amazing place to be. Let me know how much you need to spend today so I can make sure all the funds are in the appropriate place. Again, thank you for so much you do. And that was just a thing. I knew you were going shopping with your mom. So to intuit some, I don't know, self-consciousness you have about spending money, sometimes it's like, okay, let me just get rid of that and make sure that you're fine. So how did you feel when you read that?
Well, I wrote, read that response.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I will shoot you a text when I'm at Target. Target, I mean. But again, I don't know if they will have what I'm looking for, so I won't know. I'm also going to be buying random stuff for the boys, blah, blah, blah. Thank you.
No. So then I said I'm going to be buying random stuff for the boys, like clothes and stuff like that. And so it might be a lot more money. And then you wrote, thank you. So that thank you was more important than you realize. No. That thank you, because I was like, I do all of that stuff. Like I buy our kids underwear. I got to know what size socks our kids wear, and they grow constantly. And I need to know what kind of pants they like, because Mariner only wears freaking Champion sweats and won't wear any other brands. He's brand loyal to Champion of all things.
Hashtag brand deal.
Yeah, apparently. Tough wears like skater pants, but only a certain kind. And so to see you acknowledge the fact that I was buying underwear and saying thank you for it, as silly as that seemed, was extremely empowering and made me feel really good. Like you're saying, yeah, you're doing that thing and you do it really well, and I trust you. Thank you. And that really was impactful for me.
Take notes, husband.
And so
hey, to me.
There he is, people. There he is. But so all of that to say, we had that exchange back and forth, and it was very empowering. As Goddess Vibes, I completely lost what we were saying before that.
This is all in context. So building up a goddess or empowered or whatever you want to call it wife.
Oh, I know what I was
has
going to
most
say.
to do with the woman, but guys, you can also help and encourage that. Understand?
Yes. So now this is what I was going to say. You were talking about when a man is trying to make his wife happy, and if she's never happy, it's so defeating and it feels bad. Like you did everything on the checklist and I still am upset at you.
Right.
So for example, if I spent, what did I spend? Something like $500 on like all new bed linens and sheets and clothes and whatever. And here's where the real rub is. So women, hear what I'm saying. If you do all that, it's, you go together, you spend the money, you do all this stuff, and then 2 days later, you're pissed about something else. And you say, well, yeah, I mean, we got a new bed, but I need the lawn to be different. How do I know this? Oh, I did this. So I had this perpetual, never-ending cycle of not being satisfied with things. And it was degrading and it felt terrible to Seth. Mm-hmm. And until I became satisfied, found my inner goddess, figured out what the hell that looked like, I would never be satiated. He would never be happy, and we would be miserable effers. That was just funny. I'm sorry.
Your lust could not be slaked.
That's right. I'm like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Like Captain Barbossa
drinking
says.
my rum, and it just goes right out my ribs.
That's right.
So what do we do about it? And how does finding your inner goddess change all of those things? So
where does it start?
It starts with that. Like it starts with nothing makes me happy. That's sort of the catalyst. Like where you go.
With the individual.
Yeah. Like I need to I need to find the thing that makes me truly happy, or my zone of genius, or my whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all connected to finding your inner goddess. So I think of an inner goddess not like I don't know. What do you think of when you think of the word goddess? What pops into your head?
Again, a lady wearing in purple that has a bunch of cats that has
you don't
a bunch
think of
debt.
like an actual religious iconography? You don't think of like a goddess? Like,
no.
Oh, that's funny. So this is an interesting conversation. Ask your partner right now, when you hear the word goddess, what do you think of? Because I literally think of like a statue that's like golden. Actually, I think of the Isha Meditation Center with Sadhguru.
Right.
Even though I don't know if that's a man or a woman, but anyway. So I think of like religious iconography, like a goddess, like a Aztec, fat, big boobs, that kind of thing.
Aztec.
Like a Mayan, fat, do you not know
you're
what that is?
talking about the wrong culture.
Well, Google it. I don't know.
Like East Indian?
Sorry, Aztec. No. I'm thinking of all like religious iconography across all things, not one.
Got it.
And that's very confusing because it's usually like a solo person. So to help my clients understand what I mean when I say find your inner goddess, I say things like what's the lady in 300, his wife? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I don't remember her name.
Like she's just like a boss.
She's a queen.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah.
Latifah? What?
No, of course it's not that. She's a queen though. King
Leonidas.
Yeah, Leonidas.
Queen Leonidas.
And his queen.
So someone like her. Think of other ones that are helpful.
Okay, so this is good.
Think
After I get over the this isn't dark corner holler witchcraft. Then I think of Beyonce, or Freya, like in Norse mythology,
mm-hmm.
or Lagatha from my favorite show Vikings,
mm-hmm.
or other.
I also think of Cleopatra.
Women.
And now I ain't no kind of history major. She probably did a bunch of crazy crap, and I'm sure she did terrible things. But
I had a minor in history. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know you.
You didn't know that? Yes, you did. I've told you 1,000 times.
I thought it was English history.
British history.
So you don't have a minor in history. Let's not fluff. Let's not
it's
pad
history.
The details. Anyway. This is the next step of finding your inner goddess, is what does goddess mean to you? And what do I mean when I say goddess? I mean a powerful woman who is not offended or worried about how beautiful somebody else is. I'm not worried about what this other person has or what they think of me. I am centered. I am strong. I am a goddess. And I love like archaeology, and I wanted to be Indiana Jones. I still want to be Indiana Jones. And I think of like the huge statues in Egypt.
You don't want to be him, you want to do him.
That was rude. Was it wrong? I don't know. This has brought up a new question. Ask your spouse,
great.
Do you want to do? Just kidding.
Just took a turn.
So like those statues of, we were watching that one Egyptian show with that lady that we like so much.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like whole temples built to women, like female gods, right? And they were real people, again, like Cleopatra and Aphrodite. I don't know.
Different queens.
Yeah, queens.
Nefertiti.
Nefertiti. That's what Hattie is.
Nefertiti's.
So Nefertiti's titties.
Oh boy.
We're gonna get fired. Anyway, so I want you to think about that energy. How would that look in your everyday life?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And again, I talk with my clients about this, and I'll use examples of real life, because some, like for example, one of my clients was saying something like, how do I not feel bad when I'm at the beach and my husband, glances over at something and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what would a queen, apart from like a queen who would cut your head off because she's a bee, but like if you're Beyonce, how would you feel? And why would you feel that way? Or, who's a good example? Because Beyonce is like obviously a physical ideal. Like she's very fit and beautiful or whatever, but a perfect example. And I'm not trying to say anything that is weightist or whatever the word would be. But who is that chick? Lizzo, who sings Juice.
Right.
She's a goddess. She is a goddess, right? How does she feel when somebody walks by on the beach?
She's probably pretty comfortable in her own body.
She doesn't care because
Right.
she's a queen, right? And so I want you to think of yourself in that way too. Like, have that confidence, pull it towards you. And note, if you don't have it out of the gate, make it, build it, tell yourself, right? Like, this is, I think, an important concept. People don't realize you can talk back to the stupid thoughts in your head. Did you know that?
Yeah, stop thoughts.
Stop thoughts?
No, that's an
I want to make
intervention.
like a 90s stop thoughts. And it's like a
Right. Yeah, stop thoughts. You can talk back. If your own brain is talking to you, guess what? You can talk back.
Right, which is Trippyville, USA,
It
right?
is.
That's a lot. Like, who is that person? If it's, where did it come from? If it didn't come from you,
Shadow self.
shadow self. So again, in that journey to finding your inner goddess, you're gonna have a lot of these like, well, I shouldn't do that, or that's too much, or who am I to what? I'm not Beyonce, I'm not Lizzo, I'm not whatever. Nefertiti's. So you're gonna have to figure out how to talk back.
So hold on.
As a goddess.
Oh, I'm not that person. They are that person.
What's different about them?
Did somebody assign that to them? Like, okay, Beyonce, you're gonna kick everybody's ass and be the most confident in the world. Okay, that's your lot in life. No, I don't know much about the Beyonce, but I'm sure that she had struggles with that, just like anyone else.
But she also worked her ass off to do that, like to become confident, to become the top of her game. So it's really about how it works.
Let me tell you this. So I've been done a lot of thinking on what masculinity is for me, right? And like a lot of the shows and stuff I listen to, it's like, oh, what does it mean to be a man and this stuff? And growing up, right? Yeah, people would talk about identity, and I never honestly understood identity, right? Oh, well, it's something that I have to go find or cultivate or create or make or work hard to get or something like that. And an elk or a cedar tree or an oak tree or anything like that does not even think about what it is and does not even compare themselves to, well, that tree's bigger than me. What about this? And what do I do here? And blah, blah, blah.
Pine cones on that tree.
So it is like, okay, what is my God-given, innate birthright of masculinity, and what does that look like for me? You know, not compared to some dude who has a huge chest and a six-pack that, you know, shoots stuff or whatnot. Not compared to the super, you know, like skinny noodle dude that only knows how to, you know, do code or something like that. It's like, okay, what does that mean for me? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you could say, okay, you're asking what women about, okay, find your inner goddess or whatnot. Like the equivalent of that is like, okay, dude, what does it mean to be a man? You got balls. What does it mean to be a man? Kind of thing. And I'm not saying compared to whatever, because men and women do a horrible job of this. We compare, and comparison is the thief of joy, right? So if I'm comparing myself to another dude who has like a podcast that has 8 bajillion views or this
Lewis
or that.
Howes.
Yeah, anything like that. And oh, he's also ripped. Then, oh man, I can strive and be inspired and be motivated by that, which is great. However, if I find myself saying, oh, I'm not there, I'm this or that or whatever, you know, I know women obviously do this too, maybe more so than men, I'm not sure. Like they compare, like, okay, I can't sing as good as Beyonce, or like she's 10 pounds, I could never wear that bikini or do this or get up and speak in front of people or look at them, they got their shit together. It's like, no, don't fall into that trap, because you don't. And a lot of stupid marriage stuff out there acts like they do, right?
Oh,
but then they get divorced a year later or whatnot and stuff like that. But we try to at least talk about everything that we're going through.
Yeah.
But one of the things that, and maybe I'm going to segue into like what has been helpful for me in like embodying like what it means for my masculinity is to actually, I have a meditation on it that I created. I want and I strive to embody the fullness of my like God-given masculinity, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? And for masculine, obviously there are different traits than there are for feminine, like the goddess vibes kind of thing. You know, it's like when you feel, I mean, you talk about like when you had babies, you're like, these things came out of my body, and now they're living because of my boobs that I have.
Right.
Seth doesn't have those. He can't do that. Damn, that feels powerful.
Yeah.
That feels strong. That feels.
I want to put a pin in that and talk about it.
You embodied your feminine
literally
power, right? And the same thing for me. It's like, okay, I do things and like things and will do things like actually run to danger. I know the back of my mind, you think you're going to make fun of that, but like run to danger. Like I have guns. If somebody's there, am I going to send you? I'm going to give you a gun and go, here, go take that. No.
If you were like that, I would not be married to you.
Right. Your femininity would be like that. Something about that is effed up.
Right.
Even biologically. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not just, that's not right. And thus, okay, geez, if I did that, you would not want to have sex with this kind of archetype of a person.
Would not want to have kids with you, that's for sure.
So again, going back to hunting, if I find a scrawny ass deer out there with 2 little pee-pee for horns, like 2 little nothing horns, and then this big buck walks up, who do you think that the female is going to go, oh, wait a minute. It's not like, ooh, he's hot. Like the way that he carries himself, literally the energy, like I tell you, I can feel animals before they're out there. Like right? It's like all energy and stuff. It's like, who do you think that
who's a witch now in the holler?
Yeah, I know.
I feel all them animals. You're in the dark corner, man.
Full circle. I got to go back home. It's calling me.
What are you doing?
Just being silly. But even biologically, like, okay, what is that? Right? If I was a pee-pee dude with nothing, I could be rich too. You'd be like, I don't want him inside me.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
God,
why would you want that?
Right.
It would not be attractive. And if there was some like, okay, just like the purple-haired cat lady, that's not attractive to me. I'm like, she's crazy. No way. It's just not, it's biologically not there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't know how I got off on that. I'm sorry. But
inner goddess.
Thinking about my masculinity and the examples there may help other people think about their femininity.
No, I think it does.
Funny.
Well, I think it's helpful even if that makes more sense to men to understand how it manifests in women. I think that's really, really helpful. Mm-hmm. So I want to, like I said, put a pin in the conversation around giving birth
babies,
and all of that, because that was the first time that I feel like I ever really felt like a full embodied person, which sounds weird.
Really?
But like I had Mariner, which is a funny story. Should I tell the story about my amniotic
vagina
fluid?
exploding?
My vagina did not explode. That was our friend's vagina.
Oh.
When I had Mariner, I have my kids really fast. It's like I pushed with Mariner like 4 times. I'm not even kidding. And he was our first kid, obviously. And my water broke as I was pushing, and it shot at the lady, and she went, ah! Like literally like Nerf
it was like
gun.
a super soaker cannon.
Right, yeah. Like if you took
it was like a blob of slime.
No, it wasn't a blob of slime.
Yes, it was. I saw it. The blob of slime, and she dodged it.
It was really funny.
Like a
she
ninja.
Actually dodged it. And that was a fun story to tell our kiddos. But anyway, after I had Mariner, again, like I said, it was I didn't expect to feel different after I had a kid. I just didn't even think about it. And I remember they handed him to me, and I immediately had the instinct, which felt so freaking weird, to lick him like an animal.
That's awesome.
Because we're animals.
I know.
I mean, I had the urge to be like, I have to get him clean. And I was like, what is that? What? And then
I love that. That's cool.
It was really cool feeling. I mean, I just thought it was so bizarre that I could have this sensation.
So when we were trying for our first kid and you got pregnant, which took 2 seconds.
I know. All I had to just think.
I had that instinct of I'm
going to lick her.
No, that was before. That's what led to it.
But yes.
Oh, you're pregnant. I made you pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
The version of me.
No, really. And maybe I actually I've talked with buddies yeah, it feels like, yes, I did it. I accomplished it. It's that is the goal of having sex.
Right.
It's oh, everything works. You're pregnant. And it felt sexy. You were more attractive. Mm-hmm. It's oh, I got her pregnant. Boom, click.
Right.
This may sound weird. She's mine.
Right.
I got to take care of her. Mm-hmm. I'm responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably seems attractive to you.
Yeah. And what's funny is I'm going to talk about that statement.
Then you want to have more babies.
Right. You said she's mine, which I've had a lot of female clients be like, I can't believe he says that kind of thing to me. I'm not his possession and blah, 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 blah. And I get what you're saying. I get that from a societal perspective, almost like a religious societal perspective, that has been an abused concept for bajillions of years. But that's not what you mean, is it? It's not, I get to control her every move and she can't go to the store without asking me. And
no, it means to ensure that what I just did to you grows in you, then I am around you. I defend you.
Let's put a different language. Let's put a different word around it other than she's mine. Because I get what you're saying. And I think it's good. But
I am responsible. I have a duty. I got her pregnant. I have a duty to, I mean, it just goes back to biology. You know, it's like females in the wild, they have sex like 1,000 times, you know.
Females?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Like, okay, so for elk, like they have a herd and it's what's called it's called a harem. I don't even know. But it's like, okay, then that one elk defends like 6 or 7 or 8 other females, right? And the other ones try to sneak in and have sex because all the females are in heat, right? But then that guy that gets them all impregnant usually has the biggest horns. He goes and fights them to ensure that they don't get her pregnant. You understand?
Right.
So,
they're guarding their...
Right. So it's like, okay, the male elk doesn't own all those. Since he got them pregnant, now he has a responsibility for his kids to grow up and his DNA to go out forth.
Right,
he doesn't own the elk, right? Next season, they're, doing somebody else.
There was a bunch of elk in our driveway this morning? Last night when we drove home from cooking class.
Dang, I didn't see them.
There was a ton of them.
You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, they're not, that's not in a possessive way. It's in like a monogamy way. It's different for humans and geese.
And geese. I will say it's like a mother to a child. It's very much that. It's like, this kid I am fully responsible for. Like there's a deep sense of ownership of that child. And
but they are not yours.
They're not yours.
They're not your possession.
And
just like you're not mine. It's just it's like, oh, I have a duty.
And I think what's important about that and why I wanted to talk about it is because a lot of women take offense to that. And man, I could talk so long about this.
Because there's a lot of asses that have really abused that.
Yes.
And you're right to take offense to it.
For sure. And what's challenging is that when we take offense to it, when it's said in the appropriate way, like Seth is saying, I'm guarding you. That's what we want. We want a husband if we become impregnated by that man, we want him to take.
Do you want to go?
No. We want him to take the best care of us ever. That's what we want, right?
Do you want to go on a date with me and we walk down an alley and I drop you off because the theater's over here and I say, well, here's a shortcut. Just go walk and I'll go park the car. Or do you want to walk with you?
Yes, I want you to walk with me. I'm glad you cut me off for that because my train of thought is messed up forever. So, what I was saying was that when women and society say that idea of as a man, you're mine, right? This sounds weird to say, but that idea of I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to work for you. I'm going to whatever. When we say that that's not valuable or valid or good, we diminish the biological fibers that hold us together. I think a lot, to everyone's detriment. Same thing on the opposite side. When we diminish the importance of the goddess vibes of a woman, we diminish the biological fibers of how women are wired. And and that's, why you feel so unhappy as a woman. You're like, the pots and pans aren't making me happy. This job I thought I would love isn't making me happy. This clothes that I bought, they're not making me happy. What am I going to do? There's a deeper, essential core of who you are that society says is goofy or doesn't matter, or that you guys haven't defined enough in your relationship.
Or because they want to sell you things.
Oh gosh, yeah, I could talk about that for 100 years. But when I talk about a goddess, I do not mean what is the razor company that would say you were a goddess?
Gillette
or something. That wasn't. It was like a lady. Venus razors, which pink tax. They're more expensive than men's razors, and they usually aren't as good. Anyway.
Technically, there's more hair on your leg than my face, so
I'll kick your face with my hairy ass leg.
Sandpaper.
I would like to be like there's an image of me kicking your leg, but it's Sasquatch as it zooms in. It's just a big red hairy leg.
No, it's Doug's hand.
Like I'm an orangutan.
Foot, yeah.
I'm an orange human of the woods. Anyway.
So how do you empower? What? Give me 2 or 3 bullet points to start a woman on their journey of actually just being empowered. You can call it goddess or whatever you want to. But how some bullet points on how to start living that archetype, which is absolutely 129% undoubtable in you already.
That's right. Bullet point numero uno, I say, is you have to stop saying that what you want doesn't matter. And now, that doesn't mean go out and buy all the stuff you want. I'm not talking about that. But you have to hone in. Is that the right word? Hone or home? Zero.
Hone.
You have to hone in on the fact that most women have a thought of a thing that they would want. This could be like, I want to feel safe and secure in my marriage. I want to snuggle on the couch. I want ice cream. I want to go to Paris. Like, think about what you're thinking about, and then think about how many times you go, no, that's not. You diminish your own thoughts, desires, dreams, whatever. Even if you know that they're never even going to happen anyway. Like, you might
Keep on going. I'm going to get my notepad.
All right. You might have a desire or a dream to like go to space. But if you literally just like, oh, that's so dumb. I'm not an astronaut. Ooh, you are diminishing your inspired, which is in spirit. That's what what's the word? Origin of the word inspired means in spirit. And when you think of that, it's that like the spark of creation. That's a song in a musical. Now it's going to be stuck in my head.
Speaking of space, a guy in my Badass Husband Mastermind wants to be an astronaut in his training.
How exciting.
I know. So
where does he live?
That's the caliber of people in the badasshusband.com.
Can we go watch him train?
Maybe. So not to derail you, but I just that made me think of that. And I was like, okay.
He's on the space chase.
I'll plug the mastermind. Go to badasshusband.com to get you some.
To meet an astronaut.
Maybe.
Future astronaut. What were you getting that for?
It was the wrong notepad, but I wrote a quote down. I think it was in the other mastermind that I'm part of. It was talking about, or maybe you said it, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Just get to the point, my friend.
Say what you want and then explain why you want it.
Oh yeah, I said that. I created that with our clients. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
So I say that with our clients because oftentimes, well, it's sort of a side note, but it kind of matters a lot. But it's a little bit confusing, but I'll try to merge it together. Mm-hmm. So whatever. In this context, bullet point number 1 was you have to stop diminishing and start like being happy and thankful for all the ideas that you have, all the things that you want to do. I don't care what it is, whether it's you want to live in a chalet or you want to learn how to ski. I don't care if you ever do it. Just stop diminishing the spark that's inside of you. It's like a tiny little, if you've ever built a fire, you have to have a spark. You have to. You can't light the fire without a tiny little baby spark. Right. Mm-hmm. And so many women are like squashing that spark just over and over and over. So no wonder they don't feel fulfilled. They're not blazing bright. They're not even allowing themselves to have like even the tiniest amount of fire to get a little bit warm from.
They're smashing it down.
Yes, because they're said like, and I'm going to use myself as an example. Obviously, this is the easiest way to do it. But like, I love Astrovans. I love lifted 4x4 Astrovans. If they're painted a matte black color or a matte army green, even better. And if they've got a ladder on the side, I'm all here for it, right? I love that stuff. Do you know how many people I know that love that stuff? 4. You know how many people I tell about it who don't love it and think I'm a total weirdo? 4,000. Everyone is like, what an Astro? Well, I think I know what that is, but they're gross. Like, at this point, I don't care. Like, and I love it. It's not even an age thing because I've been this way for a really long time.
Got to get that Astrovan clip running through this thing.
Oh, like the Chevy. Astro. Man, the commercial for the original Chevy Astro is amazing. They're like literally flying on Saturn.
Right. Okay.
How could you not want one?
Keep on going. Sorry.
But all of that to say, I've been on this journey for a long time, and here I think this is something that might be helpful too. I'm on this journey because I nearly died like twice, 2 years in a row when I was little, like 9 and 10, old enough to remember how terrifying it was, and just old enough to be like, oh, this could all end like that. Right. The first way I almost died was falling off my deck, and I fell off of like a 7-foot high deck that had no railing. Thanks, Dad. We actually had a swing that went off of the 7-foot deck with no railing. It was rad. So I fell off from the swing onto the thing, hit a giant log that was in the back of a truck on my stomach, and it ruptured my spleen. Right. My spleen blew up inside of my body, and I was internally bleeding like horrifically. And basically, why are you nodding like you're annoyed that I'm telling this story?
We don't need all the details because it gets us off. So
no, it doesn't.
I think it does a little bit.
Eat Duke. So I almost died from that. Mm-hmm. Now I have spleens growing everywhere. It's a fun story.
Splenoids.
Splenules, accessory spleens. Sorry. And then the year after that, got in a terrible accident. Again, these are things that happened.
The year after?
Yes.
Wow.
This is stuff that happened in the blink of an eye. You don't even have time to think. It wasn't a slow problem. It wasn't like I had some terrible disease over time. It was like 1 minute I'm fine.
Yeah, 1 minute.
And then 1 minute later, I'm almost dying. And it was terrible. Right. I mean, terrible. So that for me was a, what's the word? The thing that makes you go, yeah, I'm going to do that.
A moment.
Sure, a moment.
A nodal event.
A nodal event. So I want you guys to think of things like that. Like, put yourself in that space if you're trying to go, oh, should I be goddess vibes? Should I live into my full self? Should I tell someone I want to go to space? Should I tell someone that I love to crochet and I love making, stained glass art, even though I've never done it once?
Right.
Yes, you should tell 1,000 people.
If you don't, somebody else will. And if you don't, Melanie will say it on the show. And you'll be like, I wish I could do that.
Right.
Well, you can.
Yes.
If you don't do it, somebody else will.
Most women are stopping themselves from becoming their fullest potential. Hear that.
Say it.
You are the first point of entry. You're stopping yourself from being as amazing as you are. And when, again, the tide rises all ships, like when you become more amazing, whether that's, I want to have a puppy farm, I want to be a gardener, I want to learn stained glass, everyone around you does better, but not if it's I want to run away from my family and get a divorce and learn about my chakras and not care about any of the things that I've ever done in my life. That's not the healthy version of a goddess we're talking about. That's like
it's the runaway goddess.
That's the runaway goddess, which would be a really great book title. It's probably a book. But does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a question for you, but now I can't remember what it was. Well, you wasn't the next
Try
bullet
your best.
point.
I don't know. You are
threw
the
bullet
woman.
points at me and I wasn't ready for it. The first one was stopping yourself, right?
Stop stopping
Allow
yourself.
that spark to be there.
Yeah. And so what I have found to be extremely helpful per the law of attraction and other things like that is tell God, tell the universe, tell yourself what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That which is likened to itself draws more, right? So if you wake up and you have a routine saying, I want to be a goddess and whatever that embodies, or I want to be a strong woman, I want to be a wonderful mother, I want to chase my dreams and be happy every single day. And you meditate on that eventually, and sometimes it can happen 2 seconds later. I swear this stuff has happened to me before. I swear to G. Stuff like that's happened to me before. You will attract people, you will attract podcasts, you will attract books, you will attract coaches, things, conversations into your life of what you want to be. Think about it. A gossip attracts other gossipers, right? A Debbie Downer attracts other Debbie Downers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like attracts like.
Right.
So start with the law of attraction. What do you want? Meditate on it. Think about it. Tell other people. Tell yourself. Remind yourself daily. I do a meditation thing every morning, and it's listed of every single thing that I want.
You should share that. We've talked about it.
I'm thinking about it, but
making a generic
I know
one.
we share everything, and it's no, I want to save that for myself kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, make one for other people then.
Yeah, but it's from everything
Can
from
I say a
what kind of
bullet
house, not yet, what kind of house to what kind of sex I want to have to how masculine I want to be to where I want to travel to what kind of people I want to what kind of relationships, who I want relationships with. Very specific.
That's really good.
Right.
So I would say the second bullet point, and this is a big one, when people have an awakening, and you kind of did this too, when you had an awakening of saying what you really mean, you cannot get mad at people for what you haven't done. And that's what happened with you. And what happens with, I did it too. You finally feel this sense of freedom. I'm going to say what I want. And then you're like, and you've never cared and you never supported me. So stick it up your butt. You get, people get all weird about it. And it's just go, you may go through this transitional period really well, or you can be like that and no one wants to be around you. You know what I mean? Especially as it applies to relationships. Again, like I said, women are most likely the first barrier of stopping themselves from doing something because they think that their husband will be weird about it. So they don't even do it. And so I've sat with coaching clients where it's that story. It's, well, I didn't do it because I thought you wouldn't like it. Well, great. That was you stopping yourself. You didn't even ask, right? And even if you did ask, you probably didn't have the skill set then to ask well.
Say what you want, mean what you say.
Say what you want, say why you want it. Say why it matters. That's what it is. Say what you want, say why it matters.
That's right.
But don't be mad about it. Don't be a mean lady about it if you're sort of going through this journey. What would bullet point number 3 be, since you threw the points at me?
Well, you want me to go
your inner goddess.
back to the law of attraction stuff? It's number 1 is the law of attraction. Second is the law of deliberate creation. So you have to create space and time for these things to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then the law of allowing.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Right.
Women's group coaching. You knew
Creating. Oh, man.
Yeah.
What? That perfect segue.
I think it should be called the Goddess Squad. We named it wrong.
The God Squad.
Goddess.
Okay, talk a little bit about women's group coaching.
So, women's group coaching is I can't do that.
Sure
My
you
brain,
can.
turn that off. I love you, Beth. But anyway, women's group coaching is really like this team of women who are going to be working together to help you become your inner goddess. And what do I mean by that? You're like the Nefertiti. You're the Beyonce. You're the, who's another person I can think of? You're the me. You're the Betty White. I don't know.
You're the you. You're finding you.
You're finding your inner goddess in this group every single week. Our plan, everything from our planner to how we are planning to run our calls to the topics every single month, they're all designed to get you to your maximum goddess capacity. Mm-hmm. And I'm super excited about it. So all of February, which is almost wrapping up here since this will publish late February, all of that time frame, you have a discount for signing up. So if you sign up now, you get an introduction rate for the lifetime of your membership. Mm-hmm. If you wait till March 1st when the group starts, you lose.
It goes up.
You get the higher rate. So sign up now, right now. And men, if your wife was upset with your Valentine's Day gift, get her this.
Yeah, get her this. Why not? And the thing about the types of groups that we run, like the Badass Husband Mastermind or the women's group coaching, is every other person in the group has the same mindset, and you are the sum of the 5 people, men or women, that you hang out with the most. So for me, I tell my dudes, it's like, I want to be up here. So that's why there's an application phone call to get into the group in the first place. I'm like, okay, bro, I don't, and I have
the applications that I need to go through this very day.
That's right. So go to anatomyofus.com/women's group coaching. Mm-hmm. If you want to level it up.
Right. And then I want to share. So I took a picture of a piece of artwork that I saw at Marshall's Home Goods, my favorite stores ever. And it says this: life isn't about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. And I think that that's brilliant. If we think that our life sort of just pops up and does whatever, and then we kind of make heads or tails of it.
Everybody thinks that.
Everybody thinks that life just kind of happens to you. That's the biggest amount of bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life, because it doesn't. You steer everything. You are the ultimate master of what you do. Now, things happen that you don't have control of, but you have control of everything from what you drink in the morning. Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you vape? Do you wear polos? Do you wear Jinkos? Do you wear hats? Do you shave your head? Like, I know that sounds stupid, but all of those things are your choices. How you talk to yourself, what you say to your bad thoughts, what you do with your dreams, what you don't do with your dreams. These are all things that you choose. You, woman, man, are the creator of your entire life, right? And if you want to have strength and power and stability and feel centered and feel confident and feel strong and a goddess, freaking create it. There's no one's going to do it for you.
And don't wait for it too. Another misnomer that is huge is, oh, well, the timing's not right, or I will be in a better position when XYZ. Sure. Okay. Yeah. The timing's right to buy a house. Like, we'll save a down payment and, don't just quit your job a day before you know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's wisdom around that, but change can be instant, whether it's forced upon you or whether you choose it. And usually the changes that we choose are the ones that we feel, well, we can control them because we chose them, obviously, but then we have the best plan laid out. We have a framework, right? So if you choose to be in the women's group coaching, you're saying yes to a lot of stuff and you're saying no to other stuff, right? What we say yes to is instantly what we say no to. Same thing, what we say no to, then we're saying yes to something else, right? So there is no, you don't find yourself like, I went to India and boom, under a rock, there was Melanie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's the secret key to Melanie.
Right.
I'm reading a book and I underlined this quote last night that talked exactly about that. Is like, okay, I'll be this when I get that one certain thing, rather than like, oh, what are you going to do with that thing when you get it, right? And you can create all of this stuff, right? I'm not going to find a 6-pack abs tomorrow morning and just look down, right? if I'm not doing the work for him.
That's funny.
You know, it's not my destiny. You know, a lot of people, I got to find my true self. And if I could just do this or go to India or fly this or
get another bedspread or get another haircut.
Or divorce my husband or wife or buy this Corvette or something, then I'll find myself.
Right.
No, it's not under the floorboard of your Corvette, you know, or anything like that.
Right.
You create that.
Right.
You work, you cultivate that, you visualize it, you attract it, you make space to deliberately create this to form, and then you let it form.
Something that's amazing too, I was thinking, like when I was first working through this journey in myself, you're mad that we're informing our friends of how to become goddess-I.
Yeah.
Don't get mad. Be glad.
I'm glad.
So I would do things like this. I would start to feel frustration about whatever it was. Seth, the kids, the house, whatever it was. And I would literally say to myself in my head, or if no one was home, I'd say it out loud. And I'd be like, I can do this. I'm a goddess. I'm fine. Like, and I would just talk to my feelings, not even necessarily like real formed thoughts yet in my head, but I would have a visceral feeling of like, this is too much. It's overwhelming. And then I'd be like, no, this is not too much.
How did you feel after you told yourself that?
Absolutely amazing. And it took it put less than 1 second.
Did you freaking find that in the carpet dust of the vacuum? Oh, there it is. There's my spirit.
I almost threw it in the trash.
I sucked it up with the Dyson. No, you didn't.
Right.
You said, okay, I'm choosing this, and you decided and you did it. And for some reason, like I've hauled a lot of big ass deer out of the woods, always by myself, right? Unless I get an elk, and then you got to have help for that. But these big bucks are like 240, 50 pounds, right? And you shoot them, you know, not on a conveyor belt in the woods. They're in the woods
and
with
they
briars.
have legs that go directions and horns.
Logs and stuff like that. And it is the hardest thing in the world after you've been hunting for a long time, and then you shoot it, you gut it, it takes forever, and then you drag it. That is so hard. But there have been times where I have to like, oh, great, I have this big hill to go up. I go, just like you got this.
Right.
Or I usually say, let's go.
Right.
Let's do this.
Right.
And then you get it and you go. You think I feel good or shitty or I doubt myself after that?
No.
Hell no.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
And how do you feel when you say, I got this?
Amazing. It's like instantly everything changes.
Right. So
no, don't outro yet.
Wrap this up.
Quick business idea. You should have a local thing where people around you, like men or women who are interested in hunting, and it could be called elkhelp.com. And it's like, I shot an elk, ping me, and I'll help you drag it out. And that's a good idea.
That's what buddies are for.
Elkhelp.com. That's not a real site.
It's
and if it
local.
is, I don't even know.
Like, hey, give me a steak from it or something like that.
Anyway, okay. Well, we love you. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I hope that it inspires you to become the most inner goddess humanly possible, goddessly possible. And if you like this show, please rate and review it on iTunes. We are 2 reviews away from being at the 1K mark, and I'm here for it.
That 1,000th reviewer is going to get something special, I promise you. So if you got any questions, guys, remember to go to badasshusband.com, also anatomyofus.com/women's group coaching. Hit us up on Instagram. We're here for you. Dang, she's jamming. So, all right, guys, we love you. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.